recording.
Okay, keep entirely to solitude, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can start. We did that, did we?
Yes, I think you were in you spoke about it, and that's where we sort of got disconnected. So it was like, we heard some of it, and then some of it we missed.
Okay, so we did all the stuff before that. Oh, that's not bad, is it? Have we done the thing about pride? For when are you meet and speak calmly? We did the thing about. Did we do the thing about pride? I'm just trying to find the Tibetan. Oh, here we are. Like the carcass of an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That one.
Okay, japa meva, never jump. Okay. Stay. All right, so we go on from there then?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is keep up your pledges. That's right, yeah? Keep up your pledges and commitments. Keep up your pledges and commitments. Okay, well, that's fairly good. Self-explanatory. The Tibetan says, make them firm, make them stable, pledges. Whether that refers to, the wording here is strange, whether that refers to tantric pledges and tantric commitments, I don't know, because the word yidam, yidam doesn't mean deity, because it's spelt slightly differently, but dhamma means something that you hold firm, that you hold to, the word for Damsik, the word for pledge is damsik. Dam means firm and sik means word, They're like promises. The promises, you make a promise or you make a pledge to do something or not to do something, and you hold to that. Atisha himself, he said, I break my tantric vows every day, and I break my bodhisattva vows occasionally, but I never break my monastic vows. He said that. And so he said, every day I do the confession sutra, confession prayer, confession sutra, because I break my tantric vows. I mean, tantric vows are pain, huh? They're difficult, right? And you take tantric vows. I remember, who was there? Oh, I think it was Piero. Yeah, Piero. He went to His Holiness and he was in great state. He said, Your Holiness, I'm going to go to the Vajra hell because, I keep breaking my tantric vows. And His Holiness just laughed and said, don't worry. Don't worry about it. So, tantric vows, it's difficult. I don't want to start talking about Tantra, but I mean, there's a difference, in my opinion, between entering proper practice of Tantra and attending a tantric initiation. I mean, I had people come out of tantric initiations and they haven't understood it because in Tibetan, and they say, well, did I receive the initiation or not? Because if I was there, did I receive the initiation? It's this odd question because it seems, surely entering Tantra is a deliberate sort of act which you enter into willingly and sort of with great courage and with great reason being that you want to become enlightened much quicker in order to, because your compassion is unbearable. Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't have that motive. Well, I've been to a few initiations and quite honestly, I can't say that I went in there with that pure sort of motivation. And it seems to me that Tantra has, over the years in Tibet and maybe in India too, but traditionally many of them become public events where the purpose maybe is to establish some kind of karmic connection to the guru and for some kind of blessings. And everyone who goes to initiation, especially Tibetans, have great faith, and so there has to be, some kind of effect. who take an initiation if you follow the visualizations. I mean, and even these days, you know, the Dalai Lama, he doesn't even mention tantric vows when he gives a public initiation. He just says, well, you know, do what you can, do succession yoga, mantras and so forth. But, you know, you know, people with tantric vows is very difficult. You know, there's a bodhicitta vow that says you should not refuse invitations from people for bad reason. I think so I get invited out to dinner. I really don't want to go. I can't be bothered or something. And I think, oh, hang on a minute, am I breaking a bodhicitta vow here? Because I'm not. But I think, you know, we get into sort of, you know, rather kind of tangled up way of thinking about vows and so forth. They're there for reasons. They're there with purposes, and there's always a reason behind every vow. You know, just because you don't go for a dinner date with somebody, I don't think it necessarily means that, you know, you have somehow scuppered your chances of becoming an enlightened being. But I mean, you know, so I think, you know, vows, you need a sensible approach to vows. And it's something that, you know, they say in Tibetan, you should never take vows with, what's the word they use? Bedsin, you know, kind of forcefully, where you kind of force yourself and to keep the vow. I will keep this vow no matter what. You know, I would, you know, it's not wrong, but it should be accompanied by a reason. Why am I keeping this? What does a vow do? You know, what does it actually do? You know, is it just some kind of restraint, some kind of shackle I wear around me to stop me enjoying myself or stop me doing this or that? And then, whereas really I would like to do that I think is the wrong way to approach a vow. I mean, a vow has reasoning behind it. You know, they say in tantric vows, if you keep the tantric vows for 7 lifetimes, you know, you can attain Vajradhara. 7 lifetimes. I mean, that's not long, right? I mean, if you live, what, 70 years, or 7 times 7 is what, 140, is it? Yeah. You live 7 lives, in 140 years, you become a Buddha, and just by keeping your vows. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, it kind of shows the power of the vows. And also it shows that they must be understood as being actions that do have results. They're not just, I can't do this, I can't do that, you know. We take a vow not to kill. And you can say, well, I remember someone saying this, well, why do I take a vow not to kill? I mean, cows don't kill. Do they have this the virtue of not killing? You know, what about rabbits? They don't kill either. But the point is, that's not the absence. It's not just not doing something. It's, you know, the vow is in Tibetan, vows have form. They're not like physical form that you can see, hear, or taste. Not that kind of form, but it's a special kind of form. And that's, if they have form, they have substance. And if they have substance, they can develop, they can grow, so they can be fed. So I mean, vows are a bit like that. Yeah, I need to get on, otherwise we'll never finish. Where does it say that? No, I can't find it again. Oh yeah. Should laziness or procrastination strike, immediately take note of your errors one by one. Yeah, laziness. I don't think procrastination is there. The word lelo is laziness. Normally, I think means like sort of just indulging yourself in, which is a kind of laziness, indulging yourself in pleasures and not really sort of taking note that time is passing and you're not really doing anything with your life, but it just goes boom, boom, boom. That kind of sort of, you know, that kind of state of mind, which is, okay sometimes, but not to make kind of a lifestyle out of it. Take note of your errors. Yeah, you count. You know, it means that if you find yourself sort of too much attached to sort of pleasure and lying on the beach all the time and so forth, you think, well, hang on, what have I done with my life? What how have I changed from say 20, 30 years ago? Is there, what about all those faults, that sort of angry Gavin that was impatient, sort of fickle? Is that Gavin gone? Or is he still lurking around, sort of hiding behind a facade of Dharma? And I'll be honest, and if it's not, and if there's no change, then really, lying around, sort of indulging and enjoying life, maybe kind of a wake-up call, isn't it? Because we ain't going to be here that much longer. So I think that's what you mean. Take note of your errors. I mean, what is the Tibetan says count, I think. Yeah, count, count them. Yeah. Remind yourself, heart of the discipline. Remember means remember, recall, bring to mind. This word discipline here, it's conduct. I mean, the word Tibetan is conduct. It's your Dharma, the way you behave as a Dharma person. Tulshuk. When they use this phrase, crazy wisdom, these great Mahasiddhas who behaved in a rather sort of disreputable way in getting drunk and all kinds of actions that would be frowned upon. That is called tantric tulshuk, tantric behavior. There's a special kind of, so this word, that's what it refers to, but it generally means the way you conduct yourself, from day to day. I mean, and remind yourself of what you should be doing instead of lying on the couch, watching endless reruns of Game of Thrones or something like that. So it's that kind of, I think. Remind yourself of the heart of the discipline. This is when you meet another person, speak calmly, sincerely, and truthfully. Take care not to frown or glare. Always wear a cheerful smile. Yeah, when you see someone, in Tibetan says, when you see someone, she, the word she means be peaceful, be peaceful. Songbo means be honest, be truthful. It doesn't mean to be blunt. Being blunt and being honest are not always the same, right? Saying whatever is on your mind because it's there is not the same thing as being. That's not what it means. If you always say what's on your mind, you get into big trouble, right? So, Bob Dylan once said, "If my thought dreams could be seen, they'd probably put my head in a guillotine." So, being honest, it just means being true to yourself. I mean, it's very difficult. Sometimes you can't always say what's on your mind because you might upset another person. And I think that's okay. I don't see anything wrong with that. But there are times when you shouldn't, you should be true to yourself. And if you're not saying something because it hurts somebody, then okay. But if you're not saying something because it's going to make you be disliked, or it's going to make someone have a lower opinion of you, that's wrong. I think, whatever, we shouldn't be swayed by, fears of dislike or being badly thought of. And if you express an opinion which goes against the grain of the conventional wisdom these days, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. So we want to conform. We like to conform and be part of the crowd. And, we play this game of, you scratch my back, I'll scratch mine, where we constantly reaffirming each other. It's just quite, it has its purpose, of course. I mean, if we need reaffirming, it's fair enough. But I think there are times when we need to, stick our neck out and be honest. What does it say here? Sincerely and truthfully. Don't frown or glare. Yeah, Tonya. Tonya means those wrinkles, wrathful Tara. In the 21 Taras, there's one, I can't remember. There's one Tara which is wrathful, and she's actually called a Tara that has these wrinkles here. She's kind of wrathful. We shouldn't be like that. But and it says and stop frowning. Have a smile. Always wear a cheerful, always, smile. It's not possible to smile the whole time, is it? Anyway, if you smile the whole time, even though people distrust you, if you're always smiling. But there's different types of smile. There are some people I've seen them around town here. They always look as if they're about to break into a smile, even when they're not with people. And it's a lovely sort of feeling, when you meet someone and you can see their eyes are smiling, and they're about to smile. That you can feel it, and that gives us. It's comforting, and it makes us easier to talk to that person and warm to them. I think that's what it means. I don't think it means as you walk around with some dumb smile on your face the whole time. And then it says, I'm not sure this is, when you're with those you see every day. I'm not sure that's correct. I mean, the Tibetan, the word gundu has this meaning of regularly or generally, So it should be in general or always, always, or constantly, regularly, and this is how Jimpa translates it, or regularly, when you see other people, don't be stingy, but be happy to give. I don't quite see the connection. That's if the person you see wants something from you, maybe. I don't know. But this is 11th century Tibet, so I don't know. Don't be, stingy. Don't be, senameba, happy to give. Maybe it means just giving of yourself, of your time, or not necessarily about material goods or money, or I suppose, someone comes in and you in the cafe, and you be the one who get up who pays for the coffee. I mean, I've always noticed with Tibetans, one wonderful is when you go out for a meal with a Tibetan, after the meal is towards the end, one of the Tibetan will suddenly quietly disappear and come back in and say nothing. Then when you go to pay, you found that they're paid. They've done it quietly, and that's a common trait amongst Tibetans. And it's lovely, really, that you always be the one to pay, pay the bill. Banish all feelings of envy. Okay. Tradot means jealousy and envy. It means not being able to bear the wealth or possessions of others and wanting to have what they've got. That's what it means here, envy. You meet somebody and they've got better this and better that, better clothes, better car, better life. They've just come back from a lovely holiday somewhere, and you've been stuck in home in lockdown or whatever it is. And so you feel, oh my God, I wish I could have their life. Yeah, I think it's that kind of thing. Yeah, and trying to sort of, it's common. No, it's common. Grass is always greener, isn't it? Other side. So that happens a lot. What have I done with my life? I could have done this, I could have done that. No, I did this, I do. Okay. What if I had done this instead? Would I be? These kind of thoughts are useless, but unfortunately all too common. And aren't they? I don't know. In order to so as to protect others' peace of mind, stay clear of quarrels of any kind. Yes. In order to protect the mind of others, give up argument. Because if you start an argument with people, even the most calm, unflappable kind of person can lose their temper and become angry. We've seen it. If you keep pushing the point again and again, dogmatically arguing, even a calmest person will lose it and get upset. And then that argument you've caused them to become angry, and that disturbs their mind. So it says protect others' minds, to protect the minds of others. Don't argue with them, It's that was a bit difficult for me. I like to argue. I was brought up in, a logical debate tradition, so it's difficult to me. For me, sometimes I do on Facebook, and there was one the other day that someone published reasoning. The point of the reasoning was fine, but I just thought the reasoning was really awful. So I wrote what I thought about it. And of course, immediately I get, oh, well, you've missed the point, Gavin. Oh, yeah. So sometimes, I mean, what is the point of reasoning with others? What is the point of arguing with others? Does it work? I mean, they argue. Strange enough, the word argue here has the same connotation as it does in English. Sometimes argument means some unpleasant quarrel, but sometimes argument is just means discussion, doesn't it? For the sake of argument, we say, let's say, you can argue in a very comprehensive, in a very beneficial, helpful way. Debate, discussion, they are forms of argument. So, I mean, in that sense, I think it's okay to argue. But one of the, things that Dharmakirti, who's the king of arguments, king of arguers, said, if the other person is not open to arguing or debating, it's pointless. There is no point in trying to sort of present reasoning is the word, logical reasonings to someone who is motivated by passion or by by passion or some moral imperative that is driven not by reason, but simply by some kind of emotional driving. It's very difficult to. So I mean, I think it's important. Personally, I think it's very important to present things in a reasonable, argued, logical way and not appeal to sort of the tabloid way of appealing to sort of base nature. It's easy, the newspapers, they do that very easy. They know their readership, and so they pick on the kind of, they know that there's a particular sort of attitude that if they just feed it, they'll get a response. And that's what they do. And we all do. It's mob mentality. And it's on Facebook and it's everywhere. And I'm sorry, but it's on both left wing, right wing. It's everywhere. And that kind of is sort of approach to getting across political points and so forth is not really open to reasoning. The Dalai Lama always says, we tend, when in a political situation, we look at the situation and we point our finger to one particular event, one particular person, and put all the blame and all the causes on that alone. Whereas he said, if you study dependent origination, you will see there are so many other factors that come in and that also play a part. They may not be to blame. They may not be to sort of have any responsibility, but they are all there. They're all there. I mean, I think that the Facebook thing I was talking about, one of the points was that was made that in America, guns are legal to sell. If someone sells a gun to a person who then goes out and murders someone with that gun, is the gun seller participating in the murder? Is the gun seller in any way responsible or to blame for the murder? So it was that was the kind of sort of issue. And I always think we should approach these things with a calm head and not get too carried away with so Tabahia. Although Atisha is saying, don't argue, I think he's talking about that kind of quarrelsome sort of Facebook argument. You know how Facebook arguments always start with the word so. So, if, you know, that kind of argument is yeah, stay queer, of course. Always be patient. Yeah, always be patient. Always be patient, forbearing. This is what translators do. The word zurpa, like in Lama, zurpa means patient, but it also means forbearing. So, I mean, they put two translations for one word, but the word patience, or what is normally translated as patience, actually does mean to be able to bear, to be able to tolerate. That's what it means, sapa. That means, you know, if someone is shouting and screaming at you, or someone's hurting you physically, you bear it. You know, you don't retaliate. You put up with it. That's sapa, not in a kind of, you know, repressed way, but with understanding of emptiness. You know, that is what sapa means. Sapa, it means you know, yeah. Don't flatter. Yeah, don't flatter. And or be a fickle friend. Actually, it means, Tibetan says, don't have new friends. That's right. Don't have new friends. It should be, your friendship shouldn't be fickle. It's not that you should, yeah, fickle friend. Okay, that, yeah, it does. It means that you shouldn't have a friend and then after a while you get tired of them and you go somewhere else because they don't suit your purposes anymore. So you look for somebody else to replace them and forget. You know, all friends are the best. So it doesn't mean that. Flatter, yes. It's one of the 6 ways. Wrong livelihood. You're getting something by flattering or telling people how wonderful they are, in the hope that, you know, you'll get them. So it's one of the I think it's even a vow. I'm not sure. Anyway, be steadfast. Steadfast is, again, it's this it's a kind of the word steadfast here, chukpaja. You know, there's in Tibetan, there's in the tantric practices, you take this borabu krila, you know, this tantric knife, and you stab it into the ground, and it kind of creates a sort of force beyond which nobody can come. You know, this sort of tantric. This word means you be like that. You know, you be strong and powerful. You stand. What does he use here? Steadfast. Yes, steadfast. It means be strong. You know, be like a like Shantideva says in Chunchuk, you should be Bodhisattva Avatara. You be like a tree trunk. It doesn't move in the wind. It's there, you know. So be here. Be right in the center. Be there, not there. There, you know. Be strong, without being stubborn. Without being stubborn. But just be. You know, a lot of the deities are wrathful. And there's this kind of being steadfast has a kind of wrathfulness about it, but it's not an angry, you know, stubbornness. It just means that in the face of you know, temptation and what other kind of things, you know, you should be steadfast. Supajar. It's a very good word. No, yeah, never disparage or belittle. Yeah. But don't don't be contemptuous of others, and always, yeah, remain, and gubitsugi nabaja, always be respectful. Guba means to, there's a lot of words like guba in Tibetan, which means devote, to admire, you know, to venerate. Guba just means that you look at people and to always try to see the good in them first before, you know, condemning them, and not condemning them outright from the beginning, but to always have respect for everybody. You know, kubacha, kuba. Then it says, when giving When giving advice or instructions, do so with compassion. It says here, dangak. Dangak is advice, instructions. Again, it's one word with two translations. Dangak. Dangak means the whole genre of teachings, usually written in verse about, don't do this, don't do that, and but generally speaking here, it doesn't refer to written. It just means when people give advice, do it with a compassionate mind. Yeah, important, this, I think, really important, because so it's easy to start screaming at people and telling them what they should do out of anger, right? You are, you shouldn't, there was one just the other day, and a politician said something, and someone else replied with so angrily and said, "I hope you rot in hell," and you think, well, that's not very nice. If you give advice to people, you don't actually get anywhere by screaming. I just outside, and there was a notice on the wall telling people to pick up their dog poo, their dog mess, and it's had a pair of eyes staring, and it said 90% of people in this town pick up their dog mess. Do you? Like this big finger. And I'm thinking, why couldn't you just say, please pick up your dog mess or something nice, if you're going to give it, do it with, you get much better results, I think, if you, instead of screaming at people and telling them what they should be doing, which is often based more on an attachment to my own side. This is how this it should be like. You see it in the political arena all the time. People left wing, right wing, screaming at each other. You got to do this. You got to do that. And it doesn't do anything. It doesn't work. It simply doesn't work. If you scream at someone, tell them what to do, they don't listen. Why should I listen to someone who's screaming at me? I don't like to be told what to do. I'm like Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill said, I like to learn, but I don't like to be told what to do. I'm very much like that. Nobody likes to be told. But if you ask someone and they say, well, look, how about, you're more likely to respond, didn't you? If it's said in a kind way. I know there is this thing, well, sometimes you need to be tough, and yeah, but I don't know if it works or not. Screaming at people, doesn't really help. Then it says, never criticize the teachings. Yeah. Here, chur means Dharma. Obviously, Atisha means Buddhism. Chur. Kordeb means to, denigrate, to belittle. It means to say something is not, something that is there, and you say that it isn't there. So if you criticize, if you say religion is no good because it causes war, which is common enough, that is a kind of denigration of religion, which may have some truth in it, I guess, but it's people that cause war, not necessarily the religion. So I think, what Atisha is saying here could be applied today, where, we need to sort of see the good in other religions. I mean, His Holiness always go great pains to point out, the good side of Islam, especially, and Christianity. He often says, believing in God has benefits, because then you feel, as God is compassionate, and if I was created by God, and therefore I should be compassionate too, because He created me, and so forth. And also, if you believe that we are all God's creation, and you believe in God, it gives you a bigger outlook. You're not focused on me. You're out there. You're God, and generally speaking, Christians I've come across who are genuine Christians, are happy people. I mean, they're, it doesn't matter that they believe in a creator God that, Buddhists don't. I don't think it matters at all. So, I mean, respect for religion. But again, that doesn't mean to say you can't discuss and argue points of doctrine. If the environment is correct and it supports such a discussion, then why shouldn't we? Having respect for religion doesn't mean to blanketly accept everything that religion says, because to not to do so is some kind of racism or something like that. I think it's, if you do sit down with a Christian or someone who wants to debate the nature of the Holy Trinity or God, or whether God is possible to create the world, it's okay. I mean, Dharma Kirti did it. Dharma Kirti had in his Pramanavartika, in his treatise on valid cognition, had a real go at the Samkhya tradition and the other non-Buddhist traditions, and dismissing them, their arguments that everything's created by Brahma. He really had a go at them. But I don't know, these days maybe times have changed, so I don't know whether we can do that. But I still think, it's okay. Why not? But generally, you can criticize and still maintain respect. I mean, the two are not incompatible, are they? Treat everyone, where are we? Yeah. Set your sights on what inspires you most. Yeah. It means whatever you like, whatever appeals to you in a particular practice, do it. Don't criticize. I think this links to the previous line. Don't criticize Dharma. If you see people studying and you want to be a practitioner, you say, oh, these Gelugpas, all they do is study and debate, we practice. That's wrong. If you want to practice and you want to do ngundro and you want to meditate, fine. If it inspires you, do it. But don't criticize other people. And if you want to become a great scholar, then do it. But don't criticize those who don't. I mean, everyone, Dharma is like a supermarket. There's something for everybody. Not everybody can be a great scholar. Not everyone can do retreats, and so it's up to, I always go back to what I said about Roger, Roger, he found his path, which is serving Lama Zopa. Fantastic. That is his way. He's done it for so long. And that's what he does. You find what inspires you, and let everyone get on with it. I think Buddhism can be very libertarian in that sense. You do what you want to do and let other people do what they do. Of course, there are times when it may be that, people are misusing the Dharma or using it for wrong purposes. Then time to speak out. We need to speak out, but that's different. Different, isn't it? There is always the sort of duty in the Buddhist to, in Tibetan, you have this word dendro. You work for Demba and Droa. Droa means sentient beings, and Demba means the doctrine or the teachings. They're always together. And you work for both of them. You work for sentient beings. You dedicate yourself, but also you dedicate yourself to the teachings. That it's your kind of job to sort of not necessarily convert or spread them, but to at least keep them in a pure sense without them being corrupted. That's also a duty, So yeah. So whatever you do, through the 10 forms of Dharma practice, exert yourself in sessions day and night. Well, these 10 forms, they're at the back, aren't they? They're sort of writing, offerings, general listening, and so forth. Yeah, I mean, you can read those. Exert yourself day and night, it says, day and night. Among others, keep a check on your speech when alone Keep a check on your mind. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You say something wrong. Yeah, again, it goes back to what I said earlier, saying something is, you could say something if it's honest and well-meaning, and even though it's not a popular opinion, that's okay. But I think really this is about gossip, isn't it? I find myself doing this. You start talking about that, and you find yourself just sort of saying, oh yeah, did you hear about so and so? Yeah, really, what happened? Well, I'm not supposed to say really, but I will anyway. So you start talking about it. I did that. I do this. I had long chat with a friend in Dharamsala today, and I find myself, and there's a little person at the back of my mind saying, Gavin, don't say that. Just let it be. But it kind of like, it's a spice, isn't it? Gossip is like a spice. If you add spice to food, it's tasty. You add gossip to a conversation, it's tastier. And you think, well, it doesn't do any harm. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. They do say that gossip is the least harmful, but sometimes it can cause, a schism. It can cause people to split. You say something about, and they say, "Oh, really? I didn't know that about." Oh, yeah, they do. Really? Oh my God, I've changed my opinion. Oh shit! No, I didn't mean that. So you have to be a little careful what you say. So watch your speech. That means have this. What are these three? Mindfulness and awareness and conscientiousness. Have these three always. Remember, mindfulness in Tibetan means not forgetting what not forgetting the teachings, not forgetting the Dharma, being mindful. Awareness means knowing that you are doing something that you shouldn't be doing. Knowing that. Right. That's the thing about when you've had a little bit too much to drink, right? Those two go out the window, right? They're kind of gone. What doesn't matter? It's okay. It's all right. And so and mindfulness, which says, "Oh, don't forget this, and just disappears." And so we find ourselves saying, then the next day, someone, maybe a few regrets, but then it's too late. Regrets, too late. When alone, keep a check on your mind. Yeah, of course, obviously. I mean, there's our mind is a sort of our private haven, isn't it? We think, well, nobody knows what goes on in my mind. It's private. I can sit here having all kinds of weird, sort of unpleasant and desirous, lustful thoughts. Nobody knows. Nobody around me knows. So but that's self-deception, isn't it? I mean, that's really self-deception, and it doesn't really help much in our practice because it kind of imprints on the mind and one thing, and lastly, it wastes time. So watch your mind. And I always think how lucky we are to have time on our own. Many people in this world, especially in the past, they didn't have time. They were surrounded by family, friends. There's always something going on, noise. We're lucky in the West, and we have lots of time when we're on our own. We're in a room, or even if we're living with somebody, we still have time on our own. In the morning, we get up, and it's quiet. It's so quiet here in England. I can't believe how quiet it is. In India, it's so noisy, but here it's so quiet, and so. That's the time, valuable time. And if we spend it in sort of fantasizing about things we want to be, or, we should have been, or getting back at somebody that said something wrong, or that kind of stuff, and a waste of time. Then, whatever virtues you amass in the past, present, and future, dedicate them towards great unsurpassable awakening. Chisapa. Yeah. Okay. Kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. We all know about dedication. Dedication. At the end of a teaching, we dedicate. But it's also it's a big difference. It's quite a big difference. You do something good. You do something good. You can. It's at the end of it. You can feel. I feel satisfied. That was a really good thing to do. I gave up my time and I helped somebody and I feel good, and you feel good about it. And that's fine. But that's not dedication, is it? That dedication is another step. You can feel good about it, but you can say, okay, well, if that's done me any good, if there's anything that's sort of sown or planted in my mind stream because of that, then I'm not going to spend it right now. I'm going to put it in the bank of the mind, and it'll gain interest and ripen as some kind of. They say that bodhicitta, the merit bodhicitta never is never wasted. It's like a sort of a kind of high interest bank account. Interest never drops. It's Shantideva says this, and says ordinary virtues. He says like the plantain tree, isn't it? The plantain, which is some kind of banana. There's a banana, isn't it? The plantain tree grows once and then dies. I think. What I've never actually proven that. I don't know what a plantain tree looks like, but apparently it grows once and then it dies. He said, but the bodhicitta, it never dies. It just keeps growing. So yeah, I mean, dedication is easy to forget because there doesn't seem to be any immediate any immediate gratification, right? Whereas feeling good about what you've done is immediate. You feel good, you feel satisfied. But dedicating it for somebody else, that's kind of far away. So it's sort of like, you don't feel, well, why can't I enjoy it now or something like that. But I think it's a sort of, it comes out of, if you really have genuine compassion for others and, really want to attain enlightenment. Every morning we say Sangha Juddha, Sangha Juddha, I go for refuge to the Buddha, may and virtue, by my giving and so forth, may I quickly attain enlightenment. That's dedication, isn't it? That's what that is. You're doing that. But the first two lines, I go for refuge until enlightenment. Then there's the long verse that His Holiness always gives, which generates our bodhicitta, and every morning, we sit and we generate a bodhicitta, and if that is genuine, then throughout the day, it kind of feels natural that if you do something good, or you want to share it, right? You don't want to enjoy it just for you. You don't want only me be gratified. You want to share it. I think it says here, doesn't it? Share your merit amongst all sentient beings. Yeah, you want to share it with others. You want to, yeah. It's kind of natural, isn't it? Bodhicitta is difficult. Every morning we say we do this, say their prayers. Difficult, isn't it? We visualize the Buddhas and deities in front of us. That has to be real. It has to be real. I always remember one Lama said, when you visualize deities, you have to think they are actually there. Now, there's a lot of talk about deities being projections of the mind or their archetypes or whatever, but I don't think that is the way to look at the deity. They may well be that on a philosophical level, but when you practice, if your visualization are not of actually somebody there, if you just have a party, this is just fantasy, I'm just imagining these deities, then what are you doing? There's no point, is there? Well, who are you praying to? if they're just a projection of your mind, who are you praying to? You know, you're praying to yourself. So it's very difficult. Deity, Tara, Chenrezig, Manjushri, in front of you, right? In front of you, let's say. There is this deity in front of me. It has to be that they're actually, he or she is actually there, and you talk to them. You're actually talking to them. You make offerings. You know, you make offerings to a deity. They have to be there, and otherwise, you have all these sort of offering bowls and things on the table. If they're real, if the offerings are real, like the water and the yogurt and the flowers and the lights and the incense, if they're real, in the sense of I'm not talking about emptiness reality, if they are really there, then the deity, whoever you are, must also be there. Otherwise, what's the point? So I think it's important that, it's difficult. I mean, in many ways, I don't know, we are Westerners, and these deities are essentially Indian or Tibetan. They're kind of Indian with Tibetan eyes, right? all the tankas of the deities, they're all Indian except for their eyes. They've got these Tibetan eyes, sort of cultural thing there. And Torma is always made out of thamba. Why? We don't have thamba in this country. So, but it is a little difficult. We don't have a tradition of, maybe in Christianity, I don't know, but we don't have a tradition. We don't have local gods. We don't have deities that are of our tradition. I mean, Jesus and so forth, yes, but if you're not a Christian, then who have you got? In England, we had the Celts a long time ago, the Celts and Druids, but they're all gone. So we're kind of devoid, So we take on these deities who essentially, even in the way they look, are Indian. I mean, if you think of the mandalas in Tantra actually represent the ancient Indian buildings. And one Lama pointed out that the particular mandala, I can't remember which deity, he said, if you want to know what it looks like, go and look at the Red Fort in Delhi. That's what it looks like with all those turrets. The mandalas have got these turrets and they've got these gussets and these things running around, and they're based upon, they're based upon Indian architecture, right? And with the pillars, the pillars and the roof and the walls and so forth, which is not familiar to us. Maybe our mandalas should be like sort of, apartment blocks or something, or a nice house in the country in England with a thatched roof and, I don't know. But I don't know, why am I talking about this? Dedication, yeah. So yeah, dedication does involve believing that there is something to dedicate towards, i.e., there is a goal of enlightenment. It's there. It's a path. A path leads somewhere, that there is such a thing as a goal of that path. And I always think this is the value of study for me personally. You study and you think about these things, especially the theory of dependent arising, the cause and effect, and the nature of mind. These are so important, these 3 or 4 topics, how they can be understood. And then, the 4 truths, the truth of cessation, path, and towards that, how these things are not just some, arcane philosophy produced in the Himalayas. No, this is an actual sort of an actual window or doorway to some kind of spiritual development that can actually occur. So I really have valued the study that I have done, and I still study whenever I can. I try to read something, some Indian master or Tibetan, as much as I can. I mean, because there's always something to learn. I mean, Tsongkhapa realized emptiness in a dream. He had a dream, right, where Buddha Palita or someone put a text on his head, and he woke up and he looked at his text. When he got to a particular verse, boom, something insight occurred in him. This is Tsongkhapa. This is no slouch. He's not someone, he didn't just pick up a book one day. So even for someone as learned as him, studied, In Shakyapandita, he said, if you're going to die tomorrow, you should study today. I'm not sure how. I mean, that's what he said. I mean, the point is there, isn't it? Our study is great. It's actually it actually opens up a lot for us, because apart from study, what else you got? You can't see deities, you can't see enlightenment, you can't see paths, and you can't see them. They're not there. If you visualize them without understanding their reality, then they're just visualizations. They're just pictures in the mind, pictures. But if there is a basis, these things are visualizing, but these are actually attainable through the law of karma, a law of cause and effect, the infinite nature of the mind, the Buddha nature, the ability of the mind to actually develop into these states of mind by using the causal practices of bodhicitta and so forth. Then Dalai Lama always says, once you see the truth of cessation as an actuality, it gives you stimulation, to practice. So, dedication. Share your merit among all sentient beings, and along with the 7-branch practice, the 7 you all know though, prostration, offering, confession, and so. Confession is an interesting one, isn't it? Confession reminds you of the Catholic Church, is it not? Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Okay, say 500 Hail Marys, you'll be all right. I mean, confession. Again, I think it goes back to who you're confessing to. Who you're confessing to. You're confessing to the Buddha. Why would you confess to the Buddha? Why not confess to the person? Why not just open a window and shout out all the bad things that you've done to everybody? Why not confess to people in the street? Why not? Why don't we do that? The purpose of confession is that the opposite of confession is hiding your faults. Dikpa shakpa and dikpa baba. Baba means to cover. So that is what it's. The word confession, the word actually means to declare. The verb means to split open a log. You open it. It means it's this idea of not hiding what you've done and declaring it. Sometimes people translate confession as declaring, don't they? Because they don't want it to be confused with the Catholic confession. But it actually has this idea of not hiding anything, not hiding. And of course, the Buddhas are there and they're the ones who, will understand. You confess to somebody, you might get locked up, right? You go straight. Buddhas won't lock you up. So I think that's why you confess. It's a difficult one, confession. Difficult one. It's Anyway, it's kind of a good thing to do. It's confession. Offering is another one. Offerings. Anyway, let them do. It says here, and with a 7-branch practice, continually make prayers of great aspiration. Yeah. If you do like this, you will complete accumulations of both merit and wisdom, and eliminate the two forms of obscuration. Merit and wisdom. Okay, you all know about these two accumulations. They're described like wings of a bird, right? If a bird doesn't have two wings, it can't fly. Merit, which is a very strange word, but Tibetan is sanam, and sanam does actually mean something like fortune or virtue. It does mean that. You know, the word merit is in Tibetan is used in a causal and a resultant sense. So if someone has a good wealth, happy life, you know, we say in English, oh, they got good merit. Tibetan same, sanam yakbo, good sanam. It's good sanam. They're that sanam, right? What they really mean is that in the previous lives, they've done so many good things, and now they're reaping the reward of it. And so sanam, or merit, is used for both resultant, but also for causal. You know, if you give money to a beggar, that's good merit. But karma merit is sanam. You know, sanam. That's one meaning of the word.
Gavin, is sonam a direct translation of the Sanskrit punya? Uh-oh. Gavin, you're frozen. Hello. We can't hear you.
Yes, yeah. But those are things up. And
I feel like this is deja vu.
Where is he?
Oh, he's back.
There he is. You're muted.
yeah, okay. My internet has been dreadful, and I've had all kinds of engineers in, and I don't know what it is. I can't put it right. Every so often it drops and everything disappears, you know. What was I talking about? Punya. Yeah, punya. Yeah, punya, definitely. And it does have this meaning of merit, because in Southeast Asia, especially, as you know, Sneh, there is a tradition of before you die, of giving your money away or so forth, for this punya, for you know, for a reason, because the more you sort of give away, and you very good for me, the more you sponsor translators and so forth, you know, the more merit you gather. So it does have this meaning of merit, but the way Holiness described it is that if you divide practices up into sanam and yeshe, or wisdom, he said sanam, the practice of sanam, involves aspiration, effort, trying to create, developing. Bodhicitta is an aspirational practice. It involves building, creating compassion in your mind, getting rid of self-cherishing. It is a physical, mental construction. You know, it's like sort of building a house in the mind. It has that, you know. That is every moment. It doesn't matter what is bodhicitta or whatever it is, but it's mainly bodhicitta. That is, you know, that is in Tibetan, you know, dumba, which means sort of aspirational, working towards. Whereas wisdom is penetration, going down, going deep. The former one goes out, it's vast. In Tibet, the deep and the vast, right? So the vast is this creation, this great vehicle, this Mahayana, this infinite kind of, that's Sunam. But the wisdom is not that. It's penetration within. It's going deep within the nature of the mind and nature of reality. In that sense, it's not aspirational, because you're not building, but you're understanding. You go down. And I think that's the difference between these two, that, the two wings. One is heart and one is head, or one is aspirational and one is knowing, and when the two are together, then you're really on an unbeatable path, because whatever you do in your bodhicitta world is accompanied by this depth of wisdom, and whatever you do in the depth with your wisdom practices, it is accompanied by sort of the goodness of doing it for others. So, that is what, merit and wisdom, it's they're strange words, but I mean, they are, that's what they are, and in Tantra, then, the merit side is the form body, the limitless sort of manifestations of the enlightened mind in the forms of various deities and so forth, because this is aspiration. This is the result of aspiration. You're doing it for others, right? It is a sort of, that's what the result is of bodhicitta, is these, that. Whereas the Dharmakaya, in Gelugpa sense anyway, the Dharmakaya is the mind, is the enlightened mind, the omniscient mind, and that is a result of the penetrative wisdom of understanding the nature of reality. And these two are the two other form body and the mind, the mind and the body of the Buddha. And in Buddhism, they are one, for method and wisdom. Oh yeah, method and wisdom is probably better than, merit and wisdom, but there's also the method. Method is what I'm talking about here rather than merit. Method and wisdom become one, in non-tantric practices. When you're meditating on emptiness, you can't really think about, you can't develop compassion, because it conflicts, and because meditation on wisdom is a discovery or an analysis of what is real and what is the reality of myself and phenomena. At that time, if you can't bring in sort of meditating on developing compassion or doing bodhicitta practices, because they don't live together. And when you meditate on compassion, you're in the conventional world of there is this and there is that, and at that moment you can't sort of concentrate on the ultimate nature of reality, where there is no conventional appearances. So the two can't go together, but they can accompany each other in kinds of, in terms of sort of, it's kind of there in the background, when you're out and about and you're practicing giving and so forth. Wisdom is there. There's the imprint is there, so forth. But in Tantra, they are one mind, which is, unbelievable. They are one. They are one mind, And your method and wisdom, bliss and emptiness are one. The bliss consciousness itself is what meditates on emptiness. And in Tantra, bliss equals bodhicitta is often equated with the blissful mind that it comes through in bringing the central, bringing the winds into the central channel, about which I know nothing, so I'm not going to talk about it. And eliminate the two forms of obscuration. These are the two. The word obscuration in Tibetan means to cover up, to veil, and there are many forms of this word driba, You know, it sometimes means simply like karmic obscuration, you know, that you see things the way they are, or no, you see things in a way that's determined by your karma, and therefore you don't really see them as they are, and so therefore you're obscured, you're covered up. So like the famous example of the preta, the deva, and the human looking at a glass of water. They all see what they see according to their own karma. You know, the preta sees pus and blood, and the deva sees nectar, and the human sees a gin and tonic or something. So no, it's that kind of jiba. But here, the two types of obscurations. The first type is what you know, often translated as mental afflictions or destructive emotions, klesha, and you know, these six, you know, anger, desire, and pride, ignorance, doubt, and so forth. These are what they obscure the reality of phenomena, in the sense that they are produced by ignorance. Ignorance here means not knowing, but misunderstanding. And when you get to the path of seeing, then these mental afflictions will no longer have the power to throw you into another rebirth. Whereas until that point, you know, it is if you think, you know, when we die, you know, in the fear, in the attachment, I want to lose this, I don't want to lose that. That is a mental affliction. It is based on ignorance, but it's that which would cause us to be thrown. It decides, it determines where you're going. You know, that. And so when you get to the path of seeing, that kind of gone. But the other one, omniscient, is called the obscuration, or the to omniscience, or something. Obscurations to omniscience. That refers to the actual blockages of the imprints, or that the mental afflictions have left behind. You know, the Tibetan says it's like if you have a jar with an onion in it, you take out the onion is gone, but the smell is still there. And so this refers to the kind of obscuration that prevents omniscience. Now, what does omniscience mean in Tibetan? Does it mean, it doesn't mean that you know everything that there is, that you know is going to win the football tomorrow or something like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It means that there is nothing in the way of you understanding or knowing the path and the ways for all beings to attain happiness. You know that. You know that way, and that, you know, there is nothing stopping you from knowing that. You're not obscured by that. But in order to get to that point, meditating on emptiness doesn't help, because you've already meditated on emptiness. You've already free from this sort of anger and desire. You're free from that, and so you're in nirvana, fine, but you're not omniscient. So the bodhicitta is the only way. How bodhicitta gets rid of the obscurations, I don't know, because I'm not there. But I mean, I would imagine that it's rather like peeling the layers of an onion. You know, you gradually sort of become more and more sort of devoted to the welfare of others, that the mind itself almost self-corrects, and it's kind of these obscurations almost dissolve, or, you know, but I'm probably fantasizing there. Eliminate the two forms of obscuration. Yeah. And then it says, you will make this life, human life, meaningful. Does it say that? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You make it meaningful. Yeah. Meaningful. This human life. You gain this. The gaining of this human life is made meaningful. And in time. In time is not there. You don't need that. And we'll gain. Lame changchu toba gur. means attain the unsurpassable enlightenment, or awakening. People translate enlightenment, sometimes this word bodhi as enlightenment, sometimes as awakening, and what Buddhahood, whatever. Unsurpassable means lame, which means uttara, uttara, known higher, unsurpassable, awakening. Yeah, lame in Tibetan means none higher. There's nothing higher than that. There is no further. Your journey is end in that sense. Okay, this concludes one. Okay, that's it. Well, it's 10:02. Yeah. So that's it. I mean, Peter has asked me to read the text in Tibetan, which I'm quite happy to do. Shall I do that before the internet goes again? Okay, I'll just read from it. There it is. Yeah, look, we'll scribble over it. Amazing. In Tibetan is 1 page, right? In English it's 4 pages. Okay. Tenju Semba Nobu Tengwa Shukso is the title. Gyaga ke du bodhisattva mani awali beketu Tenju Semba Nobu Tengwa Tukchi Chembo la chatselo Lama nam la chatselo Debela la chatselo Tesum tamshe pangja shing Dubla nenten chesu ja Nimuk lelo rapang shing Taktu sundu bebajar Trenda sheshin paye pe Wambo konam taktu sung Ninsen tusum yandayang Semgula tabajar Tagi neba drakja shing Shenki tupar selmi jar Tagi yunten baja shing Shenki yunten drakpa jar Nyedang kuti pangja shing Ke ta tatu pangwa jar Deba chungshing chokshe tang Chela tindu soa jar Jamdang ningje gomja shing Chanchuk semni tenba jar Mige tuni pangja shing Tak tu deba tenba jar Choda ngaje shomja shing Memba semdang tenba jar Lokpe choa pangja shing Chogi choe soa jar Sangsing tamse pangja shing Pakpe norbu ki gemba jar Tusi tamse pangja shing Gembalani neba jar Kelwe siknam pangja shing Taktu ngani tamba jar Lama kembo tonge tse Guba rendro keba jar Kansa choki mikchen dang Le tang po e semchen la Tenbe zushe keba jar Senshin tamche tonge tse Pama butse zushike Tikpa chokbo pangja shing Gewe shenye tenba jar Tangdang mide sem pang shing Kandu dewa dwa jar Kanlayang chapa pangja shing Chakpa mebar neba jar Chakpe denro mitop ching Tawe sokyang choba je Kandu dewa chutongwa Deni tatu beba jar Dongmar zamba kanyinba Tangbo deni dubja de Deta nani kunlek che Shendu nika dumi gur Tatu dikdang ga drel we Kandu toa semjung se Detse nga ge chakja shing Lama dan tenba jar Shumba semni jungwa tse Semgi zengtu deba jar Niga tongba nidu gom Kandu chadang yuljung se Gyuma chulba shindu tar Minyen signam tebe se Chakchar shindu tawaja Luna neba jongwa tse Ngungi lesu tawaja Peta gumba Rabne ching ridak Shiva roshindu Dagi dagni baja shing Chakpa meba nebarjar taktu yidam tenja shing lelo nyomle semjung se decheta la nyendrang shing tulshuk nimbo dembaja gelte shenda tongwe se shide songbo mawadang tonye ngosum pangjashim taktu zumshing nebaja kundu shenda tongwe se sena meching jinla ga tato tamche panja shengi semni songwa jar saba tamche pangjashing taktu zedang dembaja ngoka meching sato me taktu sukni tubajar shenla nyeba pangjashing gyube tsulki nebaja shenla danga jeba se ningje pensem dembaja chola koa middepshing kangme dela dumbatang chujem namcho koneni ninsin jeba bebar jar jusum kewa kisakpa lame changchu chembong senam tham mare senam semche nala dar tatu yenla dumba yi melan chembo tawaja teta chena senam dang yeshe sokni sokpa gur tripa nikang zeba gur milan toba dunyoba lame changchu toba gur debe no da sutrim no tongwe no tobe no Trelia ngosa shebe nor sherab niki nor dun noriki tamba tidate mi sepai no dun te mima yemba joma jar mambo nando walata chikpu duna semla ta gyaga ki kembo pelden marme ze sambo yeshe ningbu zebe chanchu sembe nobo trenwa zokso gelek pel dashi dele. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So thank you very much. Hello, Amy. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My
Great.
pleasure. And hi, John.
Gavin.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Gavin.
Yes, thank you,
Wonderful.
Gavin.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
for
you.
coming. Thank you.
Thank
Also, I'd like-
you.
Oh, Tutu Bemo, I can see you. Oh, I've received the vision. I've seen the face of the deity. Look, there she is. Oh, nice to see you. All right.
Okay.
It's-
Thanks.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you,
Gavin.
Gavin.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Gavin. Thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
so much. Bye, everyone.
Come again.
Bye-bye.